Hey, Dave here. Uh, Thought I'd hop on here and contribute to Static Traveler's Tag, which is Show 5 albums that you haven't seen in the YouTube community. And like everybody else, I haven't seen everything in the VC community. So I probably overlooked, many of these, but, you only got so many hours in the day. Um, this first one, this is Steve Tibbetts' album, which you can kind of hear in the background. I'll try and play some sound bites. Came out in 1980, and that's the name of the album, YR. I don't know if that's intended to be your or maybe pronounced some other way. But yeah, I've always loved the album cover, which looks like a dilapidated castle sort of in England or something. But he's a guitarist and synthesizer player. And this is all instrumental album. Like I said, it's on ECM Records, so it has that ECM record jazz vibe. But you've got him on guitar, kalimba, and synthesizer. And you've got Mark Anderson on congas, drums, and percussion. Bob Hughes on bass, and there's a couple of tabla players. And bells, bongos. Just things to kind of make it exotic sounding, which is the way it strikes me. It has a real nice atmosphere to it. Don't know if you can hear this or not, but it gets to be pretty rhythmic, and also his guitar gets to be pretty fiery in certain areas of the album. But yeah, that combination of the tablas and everything, that really makes it kind of otherworldly in a lot of ways, or something like that. So yeah, Steve Tibbetts, YR. This next one is Michael Brooks, Hybrid. I spoke of Michael Brooks sometime back on a different album. This is on the Editions EG, I believe. Yeah, EG Records. And it's got like Brian Eno on here, along with Daniel Lanois, I believe is how he says his name. But yeah, Brian Eno on synthesizers. Michael Brooks refers to himself as having infinite guitar, but he's, plays other instruments as well, like bass, percussion. And has a real similar feel to something like Harold Budd, or there's another guy that I'm not going to be able to think of that plays this similar sort of gamelan type music. But yeah, real interesting music, sort of laid back and what have you. I've also been listening to one of his on CD here. This probably only came out on CD. It's called Cobalt Blue, and it has a separate CD with it. It's 2 CD set. It has a separate CD that is a live performance, and it's really good too. So yeah, started re-listening to it again, and I've come to appreciate this album, which I really didn't listen to it a lot when I first got it, but it's been a nice return. John Hassel was the other guy I was trying to think of. that's on that label. This is Pig Bag, Dr. Heckle and Mr. Jive. What you might be listening to, they're a fairly diverse band too. They play a lot of African rhythms, along with some funk, jazz, and even a little bit of dub and electronics are mixed in with their stuff as well. This is one of those covers that you turn it over and it's kind of upside down, so you have to do it like this, but yeah. This is one of their more atmospheric, kind of dubby. Comes with a nice inner sleeve. Some pictures on the back. But yeah, Pig Bag, they were out of England. I tried to find things that weren't really obscure, so maybe somebody has also commented on these. But yeah, I like I said, I haven't seen them, so. It's Glass Hammer's self-titled record. This is on Decca Records. And it's a earlier prog type band, 3-piece. Their guitarist was really known in this band by, you know, those that follow progression, but Philip Kagi was the guitarist, and it's like I said, it's a 3-piece. John Sierra and Dan Picchio plays bass and flute, and Phil Kagi plays electric and acoustic guitars. Really nice album if you're into progressive music. Got some like what sounds like Mellotron, although that might be Kagi going through guitar pedals and whatnot, but yeah. This is Ransom Wilson, who is a flutist or flautist, and also a composer. And I believe it said on here that he was, anyway, helps put all this music together. And it has several composers on here. This is Steve Reich, does a Vermont counterpoint. Philip Glass does facades. And Frank Becker doing Stonehenge, along with some other, there's some Debussy on here as well. Those are the three main compositions. And as you can hear, it's really sort of nature inspired maybe, or very open in the way he interprets all this. And yeah, got a nice write-up on the back. This is on Angel Records. These were some I was going to include, and I'm not talking about them, but I just thought I'd show them since they were already pulled. This is another Steve Reich, John Adams. John Adams, The Shaker Hoops. It's one composition on one side, and which is Steve Reich, and John Adams is on the other side. Interesting building, you know, for the cover. Kazumui Matanabe, maybe is how he says it. Sort of a light jazz album. That's the way I would describe it. Although some have said there's like progressive elements in it as well. And yeah, pretty interesting album. This is Kate Wolf. She is a singer-songwriter. She died rather early. She lived out in California. And I describe her music kind of older folk style, kind of like Gordon Lightfoot or something like that. And her compositions weren't quite as mainstream as, say, somebody like Joni Mitchell, which was a little bit more pop and sometimes jazz pop and jazz. But yeah, she's pretty good, you know. Like I said, she's kind of older style with the way her songs, kind of early folk is, but yeah. This is a Pika Pajola, at least how he says it. Pajola. He is a Finnish composer, and again in the progressive rock vein, I guess you could say. Probably not one of his better albums, but it's sort of interesting. Like I say, it's kind of orchestral, kind of in the way that Mike Oldfield maybe might do his later albums. Not perhaps Tubular Bells, but maybe something like that. Although this album isn't quite as good as Oldfield's other stuff. I think Oldfield might be better, but yeah. Like I said, he's a Finnish composer, plays bass and keyboards, I think, you know, synthesizers. So yeah. Then I was going to comment upon this. Alex over at, golly, I think his channel name is Marimba or something. But I'll leave a link to both Static Traveler and Alex's channel. He did a tag on artists that have John Coltrane sort of influence. And I've always thought that this album was that way. And it's due to the way the opening is, which starts out with just crickets. And supposedly what I read about this album on the web, I've never read anything that said this was like Coltrane in any way or was associated with jazz, but I ran across one the other day that I finally found and read, and I don't know where that guy got his information from. but it sounded legit to me. And it's kind of the way I've always thought about this album, and I'll leave a link to it below if you care to read the article. But he was associating it with, and I'm forgetting the jazz guy's name, but he said he was influenced by people like Alice Coltrane, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, earlier period. There's an album by a jazz guy that I can't remember the name of it is Themby. And I know the cover is like him on the front playing a flute, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, he wanted to kind of get away from the rock a little bit, and him and Michael Shreves, which is the drummer in this band. And they both kind of wrote compositions, and then they all got together and wanted to sequence, showed how the album should be sequenced and everything. And they both kind of wanted to go in this direction, which was more of a jazzier type thing that was kind of going on. You had Herbie Hancock started doing those latter or middle period albums where it was kind of in a Miles Davis Bitches Brew type area. And so, anyway, I think I'll just leave that link below, and if you want to read it, you can do so. But I was really surprised to find what the guy was saying about this album on there, because it kind of was really how I've always thought about this album. And I'll leave links to Alex's channel and Static Traveler's channel as well. But yeah, this is Santana's 4th album, and for sure like one of his better ones in my opinion. I like his first 2 quite a bit as well. But yeah, so anyway, hope everybody's doing good on a Saturday, or excuse me, Sunday. And yeah, getting ready for spring here in Texas is what it sounds like. So we'll talk to you later.